Happy Cinco de Mayo. Okay. I hope you guys all have a good one. Unless you voted for Trump, then you get no tacos. Okay. You get no tacos or margaritas. Okay. You are banned from anything from Latin America since you want to send them all back to Latin America anyway. And then we're going to take away all things that you enjoy from Latin America. I think that's fair. You guys agree? Should we do that? No Don Julio. No Don Julio for you. Y'all, as you guys are coming in, please double tap that screenshot. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You voted for Trump. Go ahead and hit that request to join button or hit the call in number that's right above my head, and we can have a conversation. I will be bringing up my first guest in just a matter of moments. What is going on here? All right. I'll be bringing up my first guest in just a moment, and we will get this thing moving forward. I really do hope everybody is having a good day. I'm a little early on today because I'm not going to be on all night tonight. Because I'm going to go have a marg and some tacos tonight too. Because why not? Right? Why not? I get to do that. Also, I am going to have some pretty exciting news. I'll say this later. I am not talking about it yet, but I will be having some very exciting news coming very, very soon about an interview that we will be doing right here on this live. Maybe as early as this weekend. So, should be a lot of fun. That we'll get to have. So as I get more information, I will be, letting that out. I'm hoping to have information out as early as tomorrow, but definitely no later than Wednesday. So, I can't release it yet, but I will be releasing it soon. Okay. So just look out for that. Make sure you're in my Discord. Make sure you're watching my videos. All of those things is where I'm going to be releasing the information on my cool interview. Also, fair warning that some of y'all are not going to like the interview. Some of y'all are not going to like it. But that's okay. That's okay. The rest of you will. And that's what's important. Oh, that was weird. All right, y'all. If you voted for Trump, go ahead and hit the request to join button or make a call in over on the call in number. We are going to start bringing up guests. I'll give like a few seconds for someone to call in. If not, I will move on to a guest over here. That is correct. Brian Kemp will not be running. That is what the announcement is today. There's a lot of really interesting news. The whole Donald Trump is now trying to pay migrants like $1,000 to leave. That's an interesting one. I'm wondering because, like, no joke, like there's like I guess you do it through the CBP app. I'm wondering if I can get a free vacation out of it. I'm wondering if I say I want to get deported, will they deport me to like Costa Rica with like a free plane ticket, and then like I can use the $1,000 that I get to like get my plane ticket back home.
Thinking of the Biden administration. I'm not going to hold you. Donald Trump would never do that, by the way.
I'm sorry. Who was talking to you?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well then speak when spoken to, okay? So then I could like get deported to like Costa Rica for a year. Then I could come back with a plane ticket before because I'm an American citizen. I'll just pretend like I don't have a passport. And then we'll go from there. That'd be really fun, actually. I wonder if that's possible. I'm looking into it. We'll see. I'll take a free $1,000. That'd be fun.
Sleepy Joe isn't in office anymore. I don't know what you're talking about.
Again, who's talking to you? I haven't even said hello to you yet.
Doesn't matter.
All right, well then go away. I don't care. It is Cinco de Mayo. I'm here to have a good day. I'm not going to sit here and freaking like deal with people who have no self-control. Learn a little bit of self-control, and then you can come up alive. I haven't even said hi to you yet. See, that's the thing. When we have conversations like this, what's really important is things like, hello, how are you? You having a good day? Happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope you get some good tacos. Okay? These are all important things to start a conversation. Okay? You just go come up yelling, Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden. He was sleepy. Wild, dude. Wild. The audacity of some people. Some people's children. What about Biden? I need a thing that flashes up every time it says that. That'd be funny. Hello? Hello? Caller? See, that one always drives me up. Like when you accidentally request on TikTok, I'm like, oh, okay, it was an accident. You were tapping. You had to dial in the number. I don't think you accidentally do that. You actually had to like type in the number and then like hit like go. You can't accidentally do that. That's weird. That's very strange. Hello?
Have you ever sucked your dad's dick?
That's very strange to talk about. But pretty standard. You guys, remember, if you talk to MAGA for long enough, they will always bring up male genitalia. They have so many like repressed feelings. It's really sad. I assume that's where a lot of their anger comes from, is from their like repressed feelings or like repressed homosexual feelings. But every time I talk to them, they end up somehow talking about that wasn't long at all. I'm pretty sure that's what his dad said. But yeah, they always end up going back to some type of repressed male genitalia speak. It's pretty strange. Sorry, I shouldn't have made that joke. I shouldn't have made that joke. That wasn't that wasn't called for. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done that. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's just weird. I'm sorry, it's weird. So, just is. All right, y'all. Again, if you voted for Trump, go ahead and hit the request to join button. If you're on the TikTok side, if you're on the YouTube side, go ahead and call in. And we can have a conversation. That's a short video. Okay, whatever. Yeah, and we'll see if we can get this thing going. It is a Monday, and like honestly, like even all weekend, the lives are just kind of in and out. It's kind of being weird. So we'll see if we can get this thing going and moving. If not, then I'll go and have some margaritas. I don't care. Hello.
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Terrible.
Why are you terrible?
I hate life.
You should get a therapist.
No.
How old are you?
15.
Bro, you are 15 years old. Go play video games or something. Get a therapist now, because if you think at 15 life is horrible, then you're in for a world of hurt. Okay? You're in for a world of hurt. But go get a therapist. Please. Okay? Therapy is helpful. It's the same person before. Hello? This person is not okay. You want the next person to talk about the Alcatraz situation? Who are they sending to Alcatraz? That's my question. Who are they going to send to Alcatraz? What do you guys think? I got a few ideas of who you could send. It's just me, though. It's probably Boat Boy. Oh my goodness, it could be Boat Boy. It could be Boat Boy. I hope it is Boat Boy. I missed him. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
How old are you?
18.
What year are you born?
What year? Why? Do you not trust me?
Nope. Not even a little bit. I don't even trust you, like, even the slightest bit. Hello?
Hello, bro. How you doing, cracker?
How old are you?
20,
You're 20. What year were you born?
2004.
Okay.
Riding in the 6'4".
Cool. Did you vote for Trump?
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay. Why is that?
Love America. He's for the American people, brother.
Okay. How's that?
How is what? You voted for Kamala, huh?
I said, how is he for the American people?
She is, bro.
How?
Just look.
How?
How? Look it
Yeah.
up. Do your research, bro.
Oh God, is this the length that this conversation is gonna go? Because I'll end it right now.
Bro, you voted for Kamala, bro.
Cool.
Kinda crazy.
How?
Kind of crazy, bro. You voted for Kamala, bro.
All right. Well, you're boring, guys. For the last guest, I want to let you know, I get very amused by people who troll and are actually funny. You were not. Okay. So like maybe next time, like go back home, like maybe write your jokes down first and then come back up on here. And then maybe you could like be funny or someone will laugh at you. Okay. But it's not much fun when you come up here trying to troll and you're not even funny. Like make me laugh. There was a troll yesterday that made me laugh. What'd they say? I don't even remember what they said. I was cracking up though. Try your jokes first with MAGA. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Do it over there. They have a very different sense of humor. Okay. I actually require you to actually be funny and over there. Kat, thank you so much for the sage dash. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, well, arguing with strangers on the internet about it isn't helping at all. That's your opinion. He's gonna go home and post a minion meme about this discussion, probably. All right, y'all. Yeah, if you voted for Trump, go ahead and hit the request to join button or call in on the number above. There are plenty of people here, even for a Monday, so we should be ready to have some conversations. I hope. Let's chat. Come on up, bud. Here, I'll send you an invite. Come join. Hello?
Yep.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Did you vote for Trump?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Do you still support him?
Oh, yes.
All right. Awesome. You're not having any tacos today, right?
No.
Okay,
Why?
good. Well, it's Cinco de Mayo. I don't think if you support Trump, you deserve tacos today. So, but anyways, why do you support Trump?
Because he's going to destroy the Democrats.
He's going to destroy the Democrats. And how's he going to do that?
With the truth.
With the truth. You want to be a little more specific, sir?
Yeah, that Democratic Party is the biggest racist organization in America.
Okay, how's that?
Because the DEI, he ended that on day one. I'm really glad for that. And what that was is repackaged white supremacy.
All right, what's DEI?
So DEI violated everyone's civil rights.
I didn't ask what it violated. I asked what it was.
Yeah, it's to help people with disparities and disabilities have an equal opportunity like
Awesome.
anybody
Okay,
else.
how about this? Let's do it this way. What does DEI stand for?
Diversity, equity, inclusion.
Okay, and you don't think that's good?
Aren't we leaving off a letter or something? What was
It's
the
A.
other
It's
letter?
accessibility.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Good.
So, and your problem with that is
Is that they decided to become racist in solving a problem that's been here forever, and the problem is racism.
okay,
It's
cool.
not.
So when we talk about
That's
things
not
like
the solution to be racist.
when we talk
though.
about DEIA, right?
Yeah.
What's the opposite of diversity?
Inclusion.
No. What's the opposite of diversity?
Inclusion.
Do you know what the word diversity means?
Yes.
Okay.
To be
What is
broad.
to be broad? Okay. To be, to be broad in vision and
yeah,
things, all sorts of
perspective.
stuff. So inclusion isn't the opposite of that. Uniformity would be the opposite of diversity. Okay, makes sense?
Well, you see, here's the problem: is Republicans want to diversify and multiply, and
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. You're going off of something else.
Democrats
What's the
basically wanna divide and
what's the opposite of equity?
well, you can school me on that one.
Would be inequity, right? That's an easy one. Okay.
Oh, okay.
What's
Yeah,
what's the
fair enough.
opposite of
I agree.
inclusion?
See, we can agree.
Yeah, what's the opposite of inclusion?
Diversity.
Exclusion. Right? If you're
Yeah,
not
that's
included, you're excluded, right?
Sure.
Exclusive.
We're
Right.
agreeing.
All
So
right,
far, it's a
awesome.
good
I don't think
conversation.
anybody here really thinks that that the United States needs to be more uniform, inequitable, and exclusive. Okay, those aren't the things we're actually looking for in this country, right?
Well, Joe Biden couldn't even find our
Yeah, that's fine, sir.
Stole
I know you
America,
want to talk
dude.
about something that's with Joe Biden. I'm not talking about Joe Biden. I'm not even talking about
I'm
Donald
talking
Trump.
about
I'm
your
talking.
party you
I'm
represent.
I'm talking about DEI. Okay.
He was looking for the soul of America.
Yeah, gotcha. So when we're talking about things like DEI, nobody in the United States, I think, wants us to be, more uniform, more exclusive, or more inequitable, right? And I think the DEI has been tagged with this, with this idea, okay, that being like diverse or equitable or inclusive, right, is somehow, hurting America or hurting, doing like an affirmative action type of thing here, right? But it's not, right? It's literally just a humanitarian or human resources thing that's saying, hey, if we're more diverse, we're better off we see more vision, right? We see we see different perspectives. We see better ways to attack problems, right? By being more diverse, by being, more equitable, right? By allowing people that maybe were disadvantaged in their life to be able to have that same voice on that same uniform, on that same, standard of living, right? And to be more inclusive of those people instead of trying to shy away from them, not being afraid of them. And I think that if we do that, right, if we allow things like DEI to give voice to those that might not have a voice otherwise, right, just because they're not part of the majority or because they're not, traditionally in those roles, I think that as the United States, we're better.
Well, here's my point: is it ain't really diversity when you're dividing people by their skin color. So
Nobody's
kind of-
dividing anybody by
kind
their
of
skin color, sir.
It's really deceitful. It's Democrats do it.
Sir,
all the
are you
time.
just
And
saying
wanna
things?
do-
Are you just like not listening to what I'm saying and just saying things?
Well, you're cherry picking information.
No,
know,
I'm not,
it's
sir. I'm
deception
literally
if you're
talking
doing
about what DEI is.
deception.
So you
So-
do realize, sir, do you know what affirmative action is?
Sure, it's upholding people's rights. Sure,
No.
yeah, it is.
Upholding people's rights? No.
Yeah, right. It's protecting people's rights.
So affirmative action was something that was put into colleges, right? Specifically for colleges, right? To bring a more diverse crowd into to the college setting, right? That's how it was on a federal level. It was brought into corporate America in some certain instances, but that was on a private level, never on like a government level, right? And that was actually something that when it was brought in on a corporate level was used as like a hiring practice and stuff like that, right? But that was the type of thing we're talking about where somebody is, actually hiring someone, even more based on their race or, stuff like that, right? DEI doesn't hire anyone, okay? DEI has never hired a single person.
No, it's the ideology though. That's what really gets me.
The ideology that we need to be diverse.
No, no, absolutely we need to be diverse, but to put it in the law and to say, there's lookalikes, like there's black people, and then somebody can speak up on a black person because they're black. That's just ridiculous. Like there's no lookalikes.
What the fuck did you just say? I'm sorry, dude. Like what you just said doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Let me make more sense. Let me just ask you. You're half black and half white. Just looking at you, am I right?
I don't see how that has any bearing on this conversation.
Well, it has a lot because you got probably a white mother or a white father and a black mother or father. And so with what you believe, by the way, you believe that one of your parents have privilege and are actually supreme.
No, I can see that somebody has privilege without saying that they're supreme.
Well, do you think I ain't gonna get that personal with you because I don't disrespect people. Let's say it was your mother that was white and your father that was black. You would think that your mother has advantages to her skin color.
Well, it was my father that was white, okay, and he does have advantages to his skin color, and he'd probably tell you that.
Yeah. So he's really a white supremacist, by the way.
No,
Because
he's
that
very
is
much
what
not.
a
That would
white
be very weird to be a
That is
YT
what a white
supremacist that
is.
literally had a kid with a black woman. That would
Tell
be
me the
very
difference
strange.
between that and a that is a white supremacist that believes he has privilege based on his
No,
skin color.
a YT supremacist says that he has superiority over other races. That's not what having privilege is.
Sorry about that, Brutus.
Are you breaking into someone's house currently? Is that what we're doing?
No, that's my K9. You probably seen a Democrat out there. I'm in Minneapolis.
Well, then he probably saw quite a few Democrats out there if you're in Minneapolis. Okay.
Yeah,
But yes, freaking YT supremacy says that one race is superior to another race. Privilege does not say that. That is saying you had a different starting point or that you have different advantages in life, whether you like them or not. And I'll give an example for that, right? I have male privilege, right? There are advantages that I've had growing up being a man that I've had that women do not have, right? Like it's just a fact of the matter. You see what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that I believe that it doesn't mean that I believe in any way that I'm superior to women. I don't, right? But I can recognize the bias.
Well, I would think a transgender would probably argue that difference with you, and they all vote Democrat.
You think transgender people would argue what point with me? That I have advantage? That I have privilege?
And have a advantage, in some areas in life.
I think transgender people would probably very much state as a straight male, I probably have a lot of advantages and privilege in life over trans people, yeah.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is they'd probably argue the point that that women probably have more privilege than men in more areas than men have privilege than women.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
I know it is. But let's move forward. So my point is they're doing race-based criminal sentencing here in Hennepin County. It just started today. Race-based criminal sentencing, meaning that the prosecutor is now considering race in sentencing a person.
Someone else has brought this up. I looked it up and it was definitely not that.
No, it is that. It starts today.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, we've
so
always had race-based sentencing, if you want to be honest.
no.
No,
We
we've always had that. That's why black people are more likely to get longer sentences and stronger sentences than their
right.
white counterparts for the exact same crimes.
So
And
so
we've seen that
that's
statistically over many decades.
so yeah. So that's really getting pretty racist. And then what they did is in Minneapolis on 20 different crimes, um, they decided not to have no bail, making crime soar like 300% that they don't want to admit and they don't want to come up with the numbers. But I know I live here. And so on 20 different crimes, there's no bail required because, quote, people of color have disparities and they cannot bail out the same as what? Is that not racist?
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear what you asked. I apologize.
Oh, so in Minneapolis, they for bail, like when you go to jail, you get bail. They decided on 20 different crimes to have no bail because they weren't violent offenders, and these people don't have the same opportunity to bail out as what? The color.
Opportunity has always been considered in bail hearings. That's always been a thing. That's why bail for people that are richer tends to be higher because it all comes off of opportunity. Now, of course, there's certain, differences in that, right? If somebody does a very heinous crime, of course, their bail may be set to something that they have no ability to, to give. But for the most part, especially for like non-violent crimes, you usually do see bail that's set, based off of opportunity.
But yeah, they took away crime, on 20 different felonies. No bail required. So it's because the people of color have disparities.
While racial identity and age are not appropriate grounds for departure, proposed resolutions would consider the person charged as a whole person, including their racial identity and age. While these factors should not be controlling, they should be part of the overall analysis. Racial disparities harm our community, lead to distrust, and a negative impact on community safety. Prosecutors should be identifying and addressing racial disparities at decision points as appropriate. That's not saying that they're going to specifically take in any type of race when it comes to it. They're taking in the whole person, including their race, and someone's race is a part of them.
So what you're saying is the system up until now has not treated people as a whole person. That's not going to work. There's going to be a lot of people going to jail.
There already are a lot of people going to jail per capita. We are the most imprisoned country on the planet.
Yeah, well, you break the law, you should go to jail, right?
So hold on. You said there's a lot of people going to jail. And then my response to you was that there's already a lot of people going to jail. And you said, yes, you should go to jail. So you literally just counteracted your own argument like that quickly.
Civil rights by injecting racism into due process, by abuse of power, by fraud, by giving BIPOC. Here's another.
Let me ask you a question. Maybe I can kind of bring this in for you because maybe you're having a hard time. Do you believe in your two alpha rights?
Please enlighten me.
I'm just asking if you believe that you should have them.
I don't know what the two alpha rights are.
Your right to pew-pews, your right to weapons. According to the Second Amendment.
So, yeah, get to your point.
So that was a yes, you do?
I agree with the government and the laws that they have in place.
Okay.
I believe
should all things be considered when deciding whether somebody should be able to own one or not? Like their mental health, their age, right? We talk about age and disparity, how you can't buy and all that sort of stuff, right? Should the whole person be considered when it comes to whether someone should be able to own one? Or should we just consider one or two things?
And the whole person doesn't include the race, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. When you talked about me earlier, what was one of the first things you talked about with me?
Racism.
No, you talked about my race, right? Well, you actually talked about my ethnicity, but whatever. You talked about the fact that one of my parents was white and one of my parents was black. You immediately, when talking about me as a person, brought up my race. Okay. We do not ignore race in this country. All right. We should not ignore race in this country. right? Race exists in this country, and ignoring it does not make it any better. Okay.
Right.
So
And racism is not the solution to be racist, and that's where you guys went way wrong. You got to keep it always as the problem because that's what it is.
it's never the problem. Well, sometimes it is the problem, but it's generally not the problem. It's generally a problem.
Right. And
Sometimes
so
it's the problem, but
to be racist, that's what the problem with Democrats. They decided that was the solution. See, retribution.
they said
is
racism is the solution. I've never heard anyone say that. That would be very weird.
that's what Democrats have done. They decided that racism is the solution. Why you
How
think
is racism the solution? Who has said that racism is the solution to anything?
the civil rights can't even do any more investigations? Their investigations have been shut down. No problem.
What does that have to do with what we just talked about, dude?
Because the Democrats been busted here, and like I'm telling you, it's going to go big. Your ideology is racist.
Okay. Well, I have seen at this point that you have decided you're not going to add anything of use to this conversation, okay? Because you just keep saying the same thing over and over again. So do you have anything else to say?
Still together? Is your mom and dad still together?
My mom and dad, are they still together?
Yeah.
Well, my dad's dead.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
If
he
you had
died
a
about
white
10 years ago, but they were together when he passed.
Okay. If you had a white brother, okay, and he had a brother with
Not interested. Anyways, all right, y'all. On the TikTok side, can we please keep double tapping that screen and get this thing to 50,000 likes? I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And on the YouTube side, please sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. If you support Trump and you'd like to give a call, and I did see a couple call-ins during that live, and so I wasn't able to pick them up because I was in the middle of a conversation. But if you'd like to call in, I'll give a second before I move on to any more guests, because I do have some guests on the TikTok side. But aluminum biscuit, I would also. Okay, but I can only debate somewhat the people that are sent to me. I don't get to choose whether someone here comes up that's intelligent or not. Okay. I really don't. Okay. If I could pick and choose who I got to debate, I would always choose someone more intelligent than that guy. But that bar is very, very low. Okay. That bar is very, very low. Okay. All right. Doesn't look like that guy's coming in. So we'll go to a guest over here. What topics that I'm trying to debate? Oh, we can debate pretty much anything with politics as far as Trump is concerned. The bar was in hell, and he still found a way to trip on it. Okay. The bar was in hell, and he still found a way to trip on it. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I think that guy was drunk,
I hope he was.
to be honest. All right, dude, he made no sense. Because
I-
I was kind of listening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow his train of thought. And I'm like, this guy's definitely drinking Jack Daniels. Because he kept contradicting himself.
Yeah,
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was over there. I really hope he was, because but when that's okay. Hey, it is Cinco de Mayo. Okay, freaking everybody's probably having one or two more than they probably should.
That's
So
your boy. He sounded he was on like his 7th margarita.
hey, I'm gonna get off this live today and have one or two. I think so. That might be me later on tonight.
I just wanted to say happy Cinco de Mayo. I was listening to you guys. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you, man. Have a good one, brother.
Later.
All right. All right, we'll see if we get any more guests up here. Like I said, it is a Monday, and lives were Saturday was a really good live. I don't know what's happened on Saturday. Saturday was really, really strong. And then today's just been kind of, the rest of the days have just been kind of on and off. Family values come first. Yes, Donald Trump, the man of family values. That's the first thing I think about when I think about Donald Trump is family values. You know, didn't he cheat on his first wife with his second wife with his third wife with a porn star? Those are the family values that I prescribe to. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think about it. You know. Yeah, 5 kids, 3 baby mamas. And that's just the ones we know about. Family values. That's freaking hilarious. Yeah, God knows what else. God knows what else. Tab, it had to do with the guy that said he voted for Trump for family values. Keep up, brother. Okay? Keep up. All right. Hey, dude, what he does with his freaking his wives and all that stuff, that's between him and his wives. I couldn't give a shit. Okay? I'm just saying it's real weird if you say I voted for somebody for family values and like I think Diddy might have better family values. All right. Like truly. Do identity politics solve anything? Anything? Thank you so much for the money gun. I appreciate that. I think that I don't know if they solve anything, but they are important conversations to have for certain situations. Right? I don't think that they should be the focus of a political platform in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I don't think all identity politics are bad also. Just, it just depends on the situation and since how they're being used. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, yourself?
I'm doing great. Did you vote for Trump?
No, I did not, but I don't think he's ruining the country either. So I was like, I could argue this point.
Okay, why don't you think he's destroying the country?
Well, I kind of view it like you don't ruin steel by welding it together. And I disagree with more than half of what Trump says, but I don't think the appropriate way to say it is that he's ruining the country.
Well, I mean, I guess you have to, I guess first we need to quantify what ruining the country looks like, right? Because, when I think of destroying the country, I don't mean the lack of existence of the country anymore, right? That's not how I hear it in my head, right? I'm thinking that the values and the structure in which America has been built on up to this point, right? How we have been the leader in the world in multiple things, right? How we've had the strongest economy, how we've been able to, to keep all, for the most part, all potential adversaries nowhere even near our shores, right? How we've been able to help other countries, both militarily and economically and through humanitarian means. And I think about, how we, for the most part, have abided by the Constitution. And of course, there have always been changes to the Constitution and such. But for the most part, I think that, the presidents have tried to abide by the Constitution. And I think that Donald Trump is trying to destroy all of that.
Oh, well, see, now, that's an interesting point. Because, I see him bending the Constitution. I see him just completely ignoring judiciary, can't tell you how many times I've seen him. He'd be like, a big F you to the courts. But, I view it as, the more stress he puts under the country, the stronger he's making us. And it's like that weird kind of you're never going to know your steel until you're tempered, and he is doing a good job at that. And I do not agree with more than half of his stuff out there. But it's weird because I've never seen people get so involved in politics in my life before the man. Like, I can't tell you how many, like, I saw Obama's full terms. People didn't really care about politics. They didn't get nearly as engaged and, like, speak up and argue and put these points out to debate. It's like a vaccine.
So I'm going to disagree with you on
really,
that.
like, creating the immune system to allow our country to really fight to get healthier.
See, I'm going to
And
disagree
it's
with you on that, though. I really have to. I really have to disagree with you on that. People
Okay,
were
yeah.
always
That's why I'm
arguing
here.
about people were always arguing about politics. People were always talking about these things. The difference is the people that were doing it knew what they were talking about. Okay.
True.
Now what has happened is people that have no fucking clue what they're talking about now have become experts from everything from one day they're freaking, vaccine experts, and then the next day they're tariff experts, right? And
Right.
I consider both sides on that, right? Like, not just one, right? Like, in that everybody all of a sudden thinks that they're experts on everything, right? That they don't understand. And the problem with that is now they're involved in politics. They have opinions on politics, but they don't know what they're talking about politics, so they're easily influenced by media, and the media, for a good part of it, has no will to be honest about that, right? Like,
Now, when you say media, are you referring to all forms of media, or are you just referring to, like, old school media?
I'm talking all forms of media. Yeah,
So including
including like what?
Including this.
100%.
This media. Yeah,
1,000%. I tell people on my live all the time, like, and this is something I say probably about once a week, and maybe I haven't said it in a week or two, but I say all the time, y'all don't know me. Y'all don't know if I'm out here lying to you guys. Okay, I try to put up I try to put up sources above my head to show that, like, what I'm saying and what I'm doing is actually accurate, right? But y'all don't know that. So if you guys aren't going back and taking the things that I'm saying and looking them up to make sure I'm accurate, you're wrong. What, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, fact checking is good. Like, that's why we're supposed to have bibliographies when we write our papers. We're supposed to go through, see where we get our ideas, make sure our ideas are sound and valid.
Yeah, 100%. I think that you should fact check everything I've said. And I've been, I said I'm kind of new on the YouTube land, but I've been debating on TikTok for about a year and a half now, right? And there's probably going to been about 5 to 8 times, somewhere in that range, where someone has messaged me after and said, I fact checked what you said. You were absolutely fucking wrong, and here's the proof of it. And I went, damn. You are 100% right. I screwed up. And I have had to go and correct myself. I've had to, like, erase videos or create videos to correct myself, or come on lives and say, like, hey, I screwed up. I don't have a problem with that because I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I do try my best to be as accurate as possible, regardless, what I'm saying. Like, even if I'm wrong, I'm going to come out and correct myself. I'm going to, I'm going to say that I was wrong, because I don't have an expectation that anybody is 100% right all the time. But that's not what happens with a lot of the other media, right? I watch, like, even as much as, like, and I'll see it with Fox News, right? Like, all the time, where Fox News will say something that is completely not factual. They'll get called out about it. And instead of coming back on the news and saying, hey, we screwed this up, they just move on to the next topic. They pretend like they just never said it. And they move on, and move on. And then I have people for the next 6 months coming and telling me what Fox News said and arguing it with me as if it was accurate, even though it's already been debunked for 6 months now, right? And I might get, 10 to 20,000 viewers on TikTok, in a night, or, like, I think I have like 1,200 on YouTube right now, views tonight, right? Like, I'm tiny. Fox News has affects millions of people, So that's my big problem, is that when you don't know how to research, when you don't know how to fact check, when you don't think to do it, and you just trust what comes on TV or on YouTube or some fucking TikTok creator or whatever at freaking CNN, I don't care, all of them, I don't give a shit. When you do that and you just trust them blindly because you don't know enough about politics to fact check them, then that's where we get people that believe things that just aren't true, and then they spread that, and it's really, I think, detrimental to our society.
Of course, the truth shall set you free, but a lie can keep you swimming in darkness for a long time.
Exactly, and that's all I'm saying. Like, everybody wants to debate politics. Not very many people know a lot about them. So,
Oh yeah.
But yes, I definitely feel like Trump, when he does things like this against the Constitution, which he does things that are illegal, right?
Or he flat out does things and thinks that they're right when I can remember from 8th grade that's not how it works. That's kind of hilarious.
Well, did you see the thing with the MS-13 tattoo? Did you see the interview on that?
And he didn't push him on it either. And it was obviously just photoshopped in there, but Trump didn't even know because. Well,
no. The interviewer pushed him on it. If you watch the whole interview, the interviewer actually pushed him on it. And the interviewer was like, no, this is photoshopped, right? This is obviously, if you look at the photo, it's an Arial font. They didn't even try to make it look accurate. Video. And Trump is like, no, I saw the photo and he had MS-13 tattooed across him. And it's like, are seriously? And that's what I'm talking about. It has gotten to the point where if you spread the rumor enough time, even the president of the United States believes the rumor that's gone around that doesn't even make any sense.
Oh yeah. This is the man that's supposed to get a report about all what is factual every day and should know these things. Oh man.
100%. And that's what I'm saying, man. We're when the president of the United States is up repeating stuff about a photoshopped photo, we're literally disrupting the fabric of America, right?
So do you think the interaction with politics and increasing people talking about politics is a good thing? Or do you think that it should be more kept towards the people that know what they're talking about, the poli-sci guys like yourself that have been studying it?
I think there's a mix.
Okay.
I think that I like people talking about politics. I think that is a good thing, right?
Right.
However, I just wish that people would get their information from people that know what they're talking about and sources that are at least trying their best to be truthful. Right? I think that is fair. I want the poli-sci people, or I'm an international relations guy. That's what my master's degree is, right? I'm not calling myself the biggest professional, but I am educated a lot when it comes to, those type of things, right?
Right.
And I refer to people that are smarter than me about it. You know what I'm saying? But I wish that people that are if you're a plumber, maybe let's not pretend we know everything about tariffs. Let's listen to the people that know tariffs, okay? And not what a politician says or some news correspondent says. And let's talk about the people. Let's talk to the people who are importers, right? That actually have to pay these taxes, and listen to what they're actually saying, right? I think that's where I more sit.
Okay, so what's your view on the 70s and China and Russia? Because from what I have gathered, it seemed like when we were in the 70s, we had this huge, how are we going to combat communism? And we leaned towards China, and we tried to push Russia away to keep two communist regimes from getting back with each other and becoming a double threat.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of what we're suffering from now, which the tariffs are attacking, is that China got so much economic power while we watched Russia crumble that China has become a force to be reckoned with in and of themselves, where they should have never had that much power in the first place, if that makes any sense.
Well, what happened was, and I think this is what people don't I think people kind of miss this idea. While Donald Trump was up there saying we need to start making stuff and we need to start reindustrializing and we need to bring factory work back, China is going, we're trying to get rid of ours and be more like the United States. Right? Right. China wants to be a consumer nation, right? And the United States, well, even though we're kind of going back to it, has kind of pushed away from that. Oh, you're freaking communists. Everybody's trying to be a communist. All communists are bad. Whatever. We still semi have the ideas the 70s weren't that freaking long ago. You know what I'm saying? But Yeah, China's built up. Like whether they should have become this power or not, I don't think. I mean, I think we can have like an argument about whether they should have, but they are, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming for us. And I feel like, especially when we're reducing humanitarian assistance to like Africa, when we're breaking trade agreements, like the USMCA, when we're breaking trade agreements with Eastern Asia, we're talking about Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, stuff like that, right?
Right.
We're opening the door for China to become more powerful, right? And that's what I think scares me the most about a lot of these tariffs and stuff like that, is that it's opening the door for China to become more powerful. And if they keep going positive and we start going negative, then we're gonna find ourselves outmatched in not too long.
So do you think our economy could handle the tariffs better than China's economy could? Or do you think we would just both mutually suffer? Or do you think China would come out on top and we would come out on bottom if we allowed the tariffs to sit?
So the tariffs the way they are now, is that what you're asking? Or tariffs in general?
Well, obviously we're always going to have some form of tariffs, but I mean, it seems like Trump's idea is to almost replace income tax with tariff tax. Like, and that sounds like a weird idea to begin with, and I'm not quite sure how that would all play out. I think we need a team of economics majors to even try to.
No, we don't. We already saw it happen. This is our past, not our future, man. The United States used to not have an income tax.
Oh, was it 1920s, 1910s?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there where it switched around. Yeah, it was early 1900s where it swapped over, right? Like we used to not have an income tax. We only had tariffs. That's what we ran off. The reason why we switched away from that,
sales tax too, yeah, and sales tax.
Oh yeah, and sales tax. Yeah, but we didn't have an income tax. Yeah,
I felt like half the other stuff was like prohibition hitting in, and then all of a sudden we lost all the beer tax money. And that was like huge...
the problem with relying on tariffs is it ended up hurting the consumer too bad, because the consumers through purchasing were holding the entire weight of the U.S. government on it, right? So, the reason why we started on an income tax is because tariffs weren't doing a good job at giving us the income we needed without hurting the consumer, and so that's the first problem, right? We went away from that because this was not working out well. And second of all, that was the early 1900s. Our government is a lot more expensive now. And the amount of tariffs that we would have to collect in order to actually run our government would be astronomical, to the point where it would pretty much destroy our entire economy, I believe. If we try to go to just tariffs, like if that was the main goal, is to go to just tariffs.
Well, no, we couldn't do just tariffs. We would have to do, if we got rid of income tax or property tax, we would have to supplement it with sales tax and or tariffs. And the sales tax, of course, being within each other, and then tariffs being the sales tax for bringing in goods and services from outside. And That's a good question. I mean, that's an idea that's been bouncing around in my head for a long time.
So let me, and here's the problem with, and this is like the dichotomy. One second, real quick. Hey, for everybody on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. If you're on TikTok, let's get this thing up to 75,000 likes. Also, if you'd like to support the live, I do have Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. So if you'd like to support, that's a great way to do it. I really appreciate that. Sorry about that, guys. Had to do my little PSA real quick in the middle of the question.
Oh yeah, it's a commercial. It's how you make cash.
Yeah. So here's the problem, and here's the dichotomy when it comes to the way Donald Trump talks about tariffs, right?
Right.
He says, on one hand, we used to be a country that made all of our money off of tariffs. And like, we didn't need income tax. Boom, boom, boom. Got it. He also says he's trying to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Okay?
Oh, and yeah, there's an obviously dichotomy there. That's
exactly. Those are opposing views, right? If you're trying to bring back manufacturing in the United States, then you're trying to tell me that we won't have the money coming in from tariffs. So So which one is it? And it's the exact same thing as when he says, "Oh, I'm using it as a negotiating tactic." Well, if you're using it as a negotiating tactic, then you're not using it to bring back jobs. You can't have both, right? Because you can't renegotiate a trade deal and then bring the jobs back. Like that's not how it works, right? So that's the scary part about these tariffs right here, right? Is that we don't know what his actual purpose is. We don't know what his actual purpose is, and I'm not sure if he knows what his exact purpose is because he keeps changing his purpose, based off of which hour it is or which interview he's in, and I don't know which one is actually correct and which one isn't. Right? Like,
oh yeah, he's got some like 7-headed Hydra stuff going on.
Yeah, and
it's quite interesting because I mean, previous administrations they would always say the soft part soft and the loud part loud, and for him it's like the exact opposite. He says the soft part loud and the loud part soft, and it's like, okay, can't really trust the man's words. He lies more than the average human being does. So you got to watch his actions, but it's the actions like are it's weird because we just watched our economy take record dips and jumps all over the man's words, and it's like how does that even happen? Like at what point does he stress the system to the point where it breaks, or is the system going to break, or is he just going to strengthen the system by like stress testing it? It's so interesting to watch, and it's like,
but
I don't view that like okay, well this is like a bad kind of thing. I view it as like this is just so completely new and different that like.
Well, what is the market like when we talk about the market, right? When we talk about the economy, we talk about the market, right? What does it thrive on? Consistency, right? It like when large manufacturers need to build factories, need to employ people long term, right? They need to know what they can do a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, right?
But that's one type of market because, like, if I remember correctly, there's a bull market. And then there's the opposite of a bull market, right?
Yeah, but I understand what you're trying to say.
The market does thrive on consistency, but there's a different type of the market that thrives on that bouncing back and forth. That like, hey, I'm going to call these shots and I'm going to make $1 million watching this stuff bounce up and down.
Right, and that's just on the stock market, but that's not when we're talking about the economy as a whole. Like we're talking about large manufacturing. Ford never thrives off of inconsistency. John Deere never thrives off of inconsistency, right? Like,
the larger companies will never thrive off of inconsistency.
Right.
It is always going to be smaller startups that are going to thrive off inconsistency.
Right.
So
but our economy is ran by Apple.
They can't like course correct really fast. They're gonna tank on that stuff. But the guys that are coming up, like your startups and whatnot, this is the opportunity they need. If you want more small business to thrive, you actually want stuff to rock a little bit more than it is currently.
But why does your small business thrive if things rock?
It's quota go, then you keep it nice and calm so the corporate giants can continue to grow.
Yeah, real quick, Robbie, I do look at the comments. I'm not responding. I'm having a conversation. You can get to your comments I'll get to your comments when I'm done. But that's fine. The reason why small businesses have the ability to thrive in that situation is because big companies are in chaos, which literally would cause the destruction of our economy. That's the problem.
So I don't view that as the destruction of our economy. But then again, we never got to actually see that happen. Like when we had 2008 happen, we didn't let what should have happened happen. We didn't let the airliners go down. We didn't let the financial institutions take their licks. We bailed them out. And like what should have, if we were truly going for a free market, we would have let, whatever businesses need to go under. Instead, gave them money, paid for the lug nuts for the airplanes, and, just try to keep everything at a status quo. Yeah, it's not to say the economy is going to crash. It's like to say like the stock market in 1929 was the worst thing that ever happened. It's like, did it really ruin our economy? No. Did it give us a lot of setbacks and take out some people's ways of lives? Yes.
Hold on. Did you just call the Great Depression a setback?
Well, it was a huge, tremendous setback, but we didn't go into the Dark Ages, did we?
For some people, we did. People couldn't fucking eat. People lost their houses. People were homeless. There was no jobs. What are you talking about, dude? Like, that destroyed us as a freaking country. That's why they call it the Great Depression, because it was so bad that it freaking literally destroyed us. Like, dude, that's not a reset, bro. Like, there will be people starving in the streets. People won't have shelter.
That was a reset. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm talking like beyond the levels of, like I say, when Rome collapsed, it was a lot more than the stock market going down, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, if you're taking a look at society and civilization as a whole, right? If you're going to take a look at the big boys, when Rome went down, crashing and burning, and we went into the Dark Ages. When the stock market crashed, we had a decade and a half worth of pain, if that.
Rome owned like a third of the developed world.
So
Rome owned like a third of the developed world. I think it actually might have been higher than that. Like, we don't. If we fall and crash, the world doesn't go into a dark age. We just do. So, the rest of the world just picks up all the slack and continues on its business, probably happy because now they get to inherit all the stuff that we were freaking doing the whole time. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Rome crashed, they were the world.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, we're not Rome.
But Rome crashing didn't exactly, like the Incas, they went away. But I'm sure when Rome crashed, whatever was happening over on this side of the world wasn't affected much. Did it go all the way out into Asia? Yes. Did it affect Asia as much as it affected Europe? No. It's like, I can't see it as the end of civilization, but I can see it as like a reboot for different governments and a reboot. But it wasn't even that. When the stock market crashed, it was horrific. I'm not trying to underplay, tragedy or trauma that people hit. But at the same point, there was no flat reboot. There was no, we have to go all the way back 100 years or 200 years. And I can't see anything that Trump could do to this economy putting us any farther back than the 50s or even the 70s. So, I mean, that's my only personal opinion. I also have a lot of faith and hope in humanity,
That's just a wild statement to say, well, the worst he can do is send us back to like the 50s or 70s. Like that's just like a tiny little thing. Like, it's just, just back 50 to 70 years. Like just back to before probably either of us were born.
But I got to give you something to debate, right?
Like, that's just like a wild proposal to me to say that that's just not that big of a deal. Like we should be going forward like the rest of the civilized world, the rest of the developed countries in this planet, trying to move forward, not trying to make sure that we don't get set back 70 years and we only get set back 50 years. That's wild. But anyways, man.
I like saying outrageous things every now and then to put things into better perspective. So,
well, you definitely had a perspective. I'll give you that much. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and drop you because I've been on with you for like 25 minutes, so I can move on. I really appreciate that.
This was great. Thank you so much. This is my first time enjoying you. I appreciate the time. You're awesome. Keep up what you're doing. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much, man. You have a good one. All right.
You too.
That was wild. That was pretty wild. Yeah, I agree, January. It was a perspective. I will tell you that much. It was a perspective. I'm not sure about a good one, but it was definitely a perspective. I will say that much for sure. Guys, I am going to get off because I'm going to go eat and have a freaking marg for Cinco de Mayo. Like I said, while I have like 750 of you guys in here, stay on the alert. I will be doing a really cool interview most likely this weekend that I'm super, super excited for. Oh, sorry. And the like 50 people on YouTube. But I will be doing a really exciting interview this weekend. It will be coming out hopefully within the next day and a half or so. And it'll be really fun. You guys won't want to miss it. It'll be a blast. And hopefully we'll be doing it this weekend.